conferences, when I talk about DMT, people often get these two main ones confused. DMT can actually refer to many, many different substances, but the two main players are N,N-dimethyltryptamine, commonly just called DMT, and then 5-MeO-DMT that's found in the bufo secretion. Also, a lot of people call the compound bufo 5-MeO-DMT because it does contain 5-MeO-DMT. Now, they may look similar on paper, but the experiences they produce are fundamentally different. So let's start at a high level. N,N-dimethyltryptamine is primarily a visual, imaginal, and narrative experience. People are going to report usually intense visuals, geometric patterns, encounters with entities, a sense of traveling somewhere. You've probably heard the stories from Joe Rogan or Terrence McKenna who've popularized this. And there's usually a storyline, right? Even if it's abstract, but there's still often still someone having the experience. I remember engaging with entities. And anecdotally, this is echoed by many people I've worked with because N,N-dimethyltryptamine tends to amplify the contents of the consciousness. It shows you more imagery, more symbolism, and more meaning to interpret. What just happened? What did I experience? What were those things? Now, if you compare that to 5-MeO-DMT, 5-MeO-DMT is often not visual at all. I have almost no visual experience with it. And instead, it tends to dissolve the identity, time, orientation, the sense of being a separate self. And I find that's the beauty, that's the magic of that one. You've heard called ego death or ego dissolution. So rather than showing you something, 5-MeO-DMT often removes everything, all the things that you think you are. And people commonly describe it as a collapse into unity, pure being, infinite presence, or simply everything and nothing, right? I was one with everything, right? And often the phrase you'll hear is there was no one left to have the experience. That's complete ego dissolution. That's a major difference. Versus N,N-dimethyltryptamine, you often will hear, I saw incredible things. And that's a significant difference in the two. And I mean, from a neuroscience perspective, the difference isn't just subjective. I mean, both substances act on the serotonin system, but they emphasize it differently. N,N-dimethyltryptamine strongly stimulates receptors associated with perception, imagery, sensory amplification, which again aligns with its visual and narrative effects, right? And 5-MeO-DMT more powerfully engages systems involved in self-referential processing and default mode suppression, everything that you think is you, which tends to quiet or collapse a sense of me altogether. In simple terms, one amplifies experience, the other dissolves the experiencer. I hope that helps.